everybody, Kiss Army. How you doing? I am Jason. This is Peter. Collectively, we are the music of Kiss. Thanks for tuning in. We are absolutely tackling this album. Show the album. Yeah, that album. Kiss Alive. Now, really quick, let's...
What?
Really quick, let's explain to the people. Because a lot of people out there are like, wait a second. They did Alive before. What are they, tricking us into watching this episode? Explain why we're doing it again.
Because it sucked.
Yeah.
Just video-wise, we were really far back.
We think it was our 4th episode ever.
And we were kind of like this.
Really short hair, too.
I think this album is pretty fun.
Yeah. Peter's hair was like, up, yeah, it was bad image-wise.
And then Jason would be like, yeah, it is fun, Peter. Yeah. No, we were green, and there's things we want to say that we didn't say. And quality-wise of the video, I have a different recording device now, so...
And it never caught on view-wise like our others. We don't understand that.
And plus, I'm going to put bikinis on us this time in post. So you pick your color of your bikini. You're an Ace fan.
I'm going
You're going blue.
No, I'm going Purple Passion.
Purple. I'm going pink.
Okay. All right. So stay tuned for that. So yeah, this is a redo. Now, we did redo The Elder at one point, and it ended up becoming our most successful video ever.
It has 500 million views.
It does.
5 million.
If this doesn't equal that, we're going to be just very disappointed.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, if you've watched the original one we did, we thank you for tuning in again. If you didn't watch that and this is your first time seeing us do a live, then we hope you enjoy it. So we are going to get into a live in a second, but first...
but first, Jason did something last night. What was that, Jason?
I seen Kiss.
For real, though. Tell us what it is.
I seen Kiss.
Yeah.
Now, really quick, Peter did not go.
I've seen him once on this tour already. And, admittedly, if I were there, it would have been really fun. Once I get there, I would have been like, geez, thank God I didn't miss this. But I've seen him on this tour, and I knew I'd see footage and stuff. And I just stayed home. I had all my kids that night, and we had band practice. So I figured, our band's better than Kiss, so whatever.
So yeah, I seen Kiss last night. They played Seattle on their the final tour ever, the last 50 shows. This was they have 15 more shows now after Seattle, and that's it. And here's one thing I took away from the show last night. This really is the end.
Yeah.
Paul was very emotional, for lack of a better word. He flat out said more than once, this is the last time we're ever playing in Seattle, which I don't remember him doing when they played Tacoma or...
Yeah, and let's explain that because, I've seen our friends post stuff like, yeah, so I saw Kiss for the last time till they come around again. Yeah. And it's like they already said they're going to play a show here or there, but they're not going to tour everywhere and come to your town.
Well, here's the thing that pisses me off about those kind of posts. Like, I seen Kiss on their last farewell tour 20 years ago. It's like, come on. It's like, that was a farewell basically to the original lineup, okay?
And Paul has said that it was kind of a farewell in general. Of course, it was meant to be. But as soon as they realized they're going to continue, it actually became a farewell to those other two members. I mean... It wasn't perfect, and it's created some drama. Mm-hmm. A lot of bands that have this longevity, like Motley Crue and whatnot, they're going to have to deal with this drama. Ozzy, every time they say they're going to retire, it was a little different with Kiss because they did say they were going to retire, and they did retire that version of the group, of course. And so, but the thing about it now, whether they lied their asses off all these years and keep doing reunion tours or not, you have to admit they're getting old. I mean, what are you going to do? Is Gene going to be breathing fire when he's 95?
Yeah.
It's,
yeah.
Maybe some people don't quite know their ages because they wear the makeup. Maybe some people don't realize that it's not like they're even in their 60s anymore, really.
Mm-hmm. True.
Aren't Gene and Paul both in their early 70s?
Yes, they are.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, Gene is 74.
They should stop. They're going out with a bang. They should stop, have fun. And show us all those cool pictures from the Kiss warehouse. Like the other day, Paul showed the double neck.
Yeah.
That was cool.
Yeah, very cool. Of course, some fans will probably mean like he's gonna pull that out the last show, and him and Ace are gonna play it together.
I feel like if they retire and Paul and Gene have more time, maybe Paul Stanley will call me up and want to hang out. That's what I'm thinking.
Hey, anything is possible in the Kiss world.
I'm hoping, you know.
And for people that say like this Into the Road tour has been going on forever, well,
Kind of has, but COVID
it
was
did.
half of
It
it.
did. It started in 2019. Peter and I seen the third show of the tour ever
Yeah.
in Tacoma, not even a mile from here.
Yeah.
The Tacoma Dome.
And last night was Seattle. And that's another thing, too. He says, and there's been a couple of rules bent, but for the most part, when we play your town, we're not coming back. And each time they played this area, it has been a different city, for sure.
They've
With
played Washington State 4 times on this tour.
a lot of distance between those.
Yeah.
One was Gorge,
The Gorge and Ridgefield.
and that's out there a ways. So.
Yeah. So this was my third time seeing them on this tour. Now, let's get something straight right away, though. This was a little different than the other 2 times. The staging was a bit different.
Really?
They still had the lighting pods, of course. I
Those
think
are so
they
cool.
They have more of them, though.
When I first saw that stage, I thought, oh my god, how weird to not do it. I thought that this last tour was going to be a total like a live stage era throwback. I guess they kind of did that, but But the stage looks amazing.
Yeah.
Did it look just as cool?
Oh, probably cooler than...
Really?
This was my favorite time seeing the 3 Into the Road shows.
Because that venue last night you saw, it's bigger than Tacoma Dome, right? So they get to use more shit, right?
Oh, yeah. They had the big inflatables on both sides of the stage.
Oh, they did, huh?
The cool thing about those is they went up like literally right when the lights went down.
Mm-hmm.
So you just kind of looked over and all of a sudden they were up there. It's like I didn't even see, I didn't see them go up. They were just there. I was actually disappointed when I walked in and they didn't have them up because I just thought they were just permanently up.
Yeah.
But no, they go up literally right when the lights go down and rock and roll starts. Zeppelin.
It's cool.
It was a great show. It really, truly was. I put a video of Making Love up on our channel that I shot off the big screen. So it's a pro shot video. It's very cool. Making Love was a highlight for me. Yeah, great show. Paul, again, was very sentimental, talking about other times they'd played Seattle, things like that. A few times, like, the crowd would just be cheering, and Paul... this was my 17th Kiss show, and I've watched literally hundreds on DVD, YouTube, whatever. Paul was just like, sometimes he'd just be like... Yeah, he was just taking it all in. You could tell. Which is very cool. Gene even talked during the show sometimes, which was strange.
He didn't talk much in the last couple shows.
That was strange. Wouldn't really say anything of substance, but just like, Gene things,
Oh, yeah?
Well, of course that, yeah.
Yeah. So anything else in the set that was a curveball?
No.
Making Love is sort of a curveball.
That Making Love is the only thing different than the last time I'd seen it. I think last time they did Tears Are Falling. So kind of...
Piano came up.
Piano rose up from the stage.
Yeah.
Eric faked like he was playing. I heard he sang it really good.
He didn't play, though?
I was really impressed.
You don't think he played?
No, there's footage of him, like, his arms aren't even moving, and you hear the piano.
Oh, really?
I don't know.
He probably could. He's a talented dude.
But, on the other hand, Paul, I believe, was singing this whole show. Okay? I really do.
Yeah, there's tracks. I listen to
really? Okay.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, when you hear somebody say a word and it's like, bing, I mean, that's pitch correction. And he's singing way.
Pitch correction is different than tracks, though, right?
No, they use pitch correction to make the tracks. That's why in parts of the show where he knows he's going to have a problem, those are the segments where he relies on the track, and he still mimes with it. I think he tries to mime with it tight because he knows it's got to be on.
I did notice,
and the cameras don't always show him up close in those points.
I will say during Do You Love Me, he would sing the first line like, you really like, and then he would be like, want the crowd to sing the next line. And when he did that, he wasn't singing, so you could hear very faintly his voice still singing that line.
Yeah.
So I think it's just like, it's buried underneath and he's like singing over it.
It's another good topic of something to talk about. Those tracks are all over the place, and some of the stuff I've heard, I can't believe there was so much melodyne or pitch correction.
Yeah. Because
to me, I thought it was pretty obvious. To anybody who's audio engineer like me, it's blatantly obvious. But the thing is, Paul doesn't want to stop the whole show just because vocally, he ripped his voice up for years, and he can't do it. I mean, if you're this jazz group that's going to tour and hit places and play for 49 people, I mean, I don't know. I mean, you could change your thing. You could just stop singing. You could just play guitar solos. I don't know, but Kiss is a very particular thing. Things have to be in the right key. Everything has to go a certain way, and he's the lead guy, and it's just such a huge thing. I understand why he's got tracks. Part of the reason why I didn't go, admittedly, is because I know there's going to be tracks, and
You just ruined it for me.
well, I know my 5-year-old wouldn't have cared. He would have no clue. He would really enjoy it. He would get the bombast of a Kiss show for sure. It would be cool.
Yeah.
But since he wasn't going to go, I thought, But I understand why they do it. I guess my point is I don't feel any reason to rip on the situation just because Gene's singing.
Gene sounded great. And Paul sounded great.
He does sound great sometimes.
There was no, there weren't any embarrassing Paul moments. You know what I mean? What I'm saying, originally what I was saying is that there was no blatant lip syncing. It wasn't like during Heaven's on Fire, he's just moving his mouth to vocals, tracks. I'm sure there were tracks underneath he was singing over, but no blatant lip syncing. It wasn't Milli Vanilli or Motley Crue or whatever you want to say up there. Gene was really playing his bass. I mean, all the instruments, of course, were totally real. Anyway, great show. It really, truly was. I was very impressed. There was an energy that I hadn't seen previously. By energy, I don't mean they were running around the stage. I mean, most people know by this point Gene hardly moves now.
Yeah, you can just tell them that they're pumped.
Yeah. Especially Paul. Paul was in a great mood.
Paul has stayed in great shape, so.
Yeah.
But even Paul, he's had hip replacements. He's had all sorts of stuff. Doesn't he have a pacemaker now?
Not that I'm aware of.
I mean, I thought he did. He has some stuff, shoulders, and
he's the
bionic man these days. Luckily he has the money to get that stuff fixed.
Oh yeah.
Probably at the best places in the world. But Gene is not quite in the shape. Paul was always in great shape. So, but how long can even Paul keep doing it?
Well,
he's going to keep breaking his body.
The end happens in 3 weeks?
Doing windmills out there till you're 90. I mean,
yeah. December 2nd, Madison Square Garden. That's going to be. I know I'm going to be on my phone that whole time. People will be. I'm sure Facebook Live.
That would be a great thing, obviously, to do a DVD.
Yeah.
Or to maybe do a new Kissology and have that be the final. Final show in the chapter.
Yeah, absolutely. But what else about the show? Again, there was just a really good energy.
Let's see your.
Oh, by the way, I hate "Say Yeah." I can say that. I don't like that song.
It's not my favorite song.
I have no clue why it's on
do
the
Modern Day
side.
Delilah. Please
Exactly.
do Modern Day Delilah. Of course, I wasn't there.
Any other song but "Say Yeah." Come on. Anyway, during "Say Yeah," I thought this is a good time to go buy merch because earlier before
I was like, sing along.
I wanted to get merch right when I walked in. Line, wait, no way. I wasn't going to stand in line for 45 minutes to an hour. So I went during Say Yeah. Of course, I knew that was right after I Love It Loud. So Gene Breathes Fire. That was awesome. Told my wife I'm going to buy merch.
So you just said no.
So I went to go buy merch. There was no line. I just walked up. I was the only one there.
Oh, yeah.
I was taking my time, looking at shirts. Say Yeah is playing in the background. I don't care about that. Anyway, so picked up this. This is the final tour book, and it's a doozy. I like it.
He showed it to me when he walked in. It looks standard on the outside, like the images you've seen to promote the tour, but inside, look at some of these.
I wanted to show that one photo with
some of these great collages. That's cool. It has the German look up there.
Yeah, this is cool. This is I guess the centerfold, but I don't know if you can tell, but there's a Mylar thing going on with all the silver.
It's sparkly,
but it goes through every tour, and
hundreds and hundreds
talks
of
about certain shows, important shows on that tour, and just massive pictures. It's awesome. I mean, it's well worth. Guess what? Only $30.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Can I show a couple more of these collage? These collage pages. These are really what impressed me.
Yeah. Very, very cool.
Look it up. The '83 era tour was pretty darn cool. They got all this stuff on creatures. So I gotta say, I wish I'd gone to pick one of these up. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I had heard how cool the tour book was, and when I seen it sitting there for $30, I was like, "Give me that!" And I got the shirt. So happy about that. And I got back in time to see Cold Gin, which was the next song.
Oh, nice. So the thing about Say Yeah, I'm thinking what Paul thinks, or what the group thinks. I'm thinking they think that the verses, kind of heavy, kind of driving. The verses are actually kind of dark, and then it explodes into this big positive Say Yeah chorus.
It's that sing-along.
Sing-along in the choruses, kind of heavy, driving Kiss on the verses. And they're thinking that's a win-win. So I'm pretty sure that's what they think.
Not just that, but for their egos, so to speak, they want to include a more recent song.
Yeah.
For they don't just come across as an oldies act, maybe.
Modern Day
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
There are good recent Kiss songs.
Animal's a great song, too.
Yeah.
But sing-along, that's a sing-along song, so...
Hell or Hallelujah. I mean, that's a great song. I mean,
yeah.
Do something for Monster. Is it just me, or is Monster superior to Sonic Boom?
Some people go both ways. Not me, but I like them both. But I think I like Monster maybe a little. I think I might like more tracks from Monster.
Yeah, I mean, Long Way Down.
Yeah, that's a great one.
Freak's a good song.
Yeah,
all those songs good.
The
song Eric sings is really good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so. Even that Right Here, Right Now, that's a good song.
Modern Day Delilah, Animal, I'm an Animal.
Oh, Last Chance from Monster is good.
Yeah, that is good.
Oh, Shout Mercy. I love Monster.
You like Shout Mercy? Shout Mercy's okay.
Yeah, I do. I like it.
I guess Monster's good. Sonic Boom, I anticipated it so much.
Yes.
First new album in 9 years, and so... I tried really hard to get into it. I went to Walmart the day it came out.
Me too.
Boom, I got it off the shelf.
Me too.
It was exciting, and it was exciting that they were doing stuff again. And I was just impressed at the time. And all I can say, I was impressed with Sonic Boom and Monster that at their age they could write stuff that was pretty darn cool.
No, Sonic Boom doesn't suck. We're not saying that.
It for their age, coming up with those songs.
Yeah.
Pretty good, I like Monster a little bit more, but think of the other bands that are coming out with albums on like these little labels that barely even get distribution, and the songs and the production, and Kiss still, I think, going out on top. They're not going to make another Destroyer, but those albums are pretty good.
Yeah, Hot and Cold, that's a good song.
Yeah, that's another good one.
We'll do a Sonic Boom / Monster episode.
I think we just did it.
Okay, it's done. Okay, good night. Thank you for watching. No, we will at some point. We're going to get there.
Yeah.
Today is all about live, really. But again,
wait, let me get this right.
Yeah. I just want to stress again, Kiss really did kick ass last night. It was a great show. Everybody I know that had a great time. There's people just talking it up on Facebook and social media. Mike McCready was there in the front, taking it all in. Great show. And I'm very happy I went. I was not impressed with my seats, though. We were way up high, and kind of the lighting truss kind of blocked the big screen behind them. They had the two on the side, but sometimes the big screen had stuff that wasn't on the side. So I wasn't impressed with my seats, but it sounded great up there. Oh, Amber Wild, let's talk about them for like 30 seconds. Okay? Evans Stanley's band, Paul's son. Kind of funny, my wife actually pointed this out. She goes, wow, for an opening act, they have the best sound I've ever heard. It's basically they were using Kiss's sound system. I mean, they sounded like a headlining band.
Yeah.
They had professional video being done that they were showing. They were totally had the rock star clothes on.
Just wanted to show that off a little bit.
Anyway, was it nepotism in action?
Probably.
Yes, it was.
But
with that said, they weren't that bad. My wife even said, she goes, it's not my kind of music, really.
When I saw the Police, Sting's Son's band opened.
Okay, see, it happens. She said it's not my kind of music, but I can tell those guys are talented. And Evan, hell of a guitar player.
What was it like? Kind of soul rock soulish?
The last song was almost like a bluesy kind of thing, but some of the other stuff reminds me of like the Foo Fighters.
Rock.
Yeah, it's rock. It's more modern than maybe for my personal taste, but It's not bad. I would buy their album. I mean, it's Paul's son's band, right? So that whole nepotism thing worked.
Yeah.
Yeah, they weren't bad at all, and they were at the merch table signing stuff afterwards. Didn't see that, but it's cool they do that. They were trying to reach out and get a following. So yeah, 2 thumbs up for them. But the night was all about Kiss, and very much enjoyed it. That is all I have to say. It's sad that we're never going to see Kiss again. They're done. They are done. So
It's crazy. I
See
mean,
ya.
we're gonna see them play. Are they doing?
son's band, right? So that whole nepotism thing worked.
Yeah.
Yeah, they weren't bad at all, and they were at the merch table signing stuff afterwards. Didn't see that, but it's cool they do that. They were trying to reach out and get a following. So yeah, 2 thumbs up for them. But the night was all about Kiss, and very much enjoyed it. That is all I have to say. It's sad that we're never going to see Kiss again. They're done. They are done. So
It's crazy. I
See
mean,
ya.
we're gonna see them play. Are they doing the cruise again?
no, I think the cruise is done.
You sure the cruise is done?
Yeah. Yep.
I've heard that there's some show or something coming up next year. Is it? What is
No,
it?
I think they were gonna do a cruise in January, but they got canceled.
Now they'll do some one-off, or they'll do something probably, but I guess tours are done. I mean, I believe it at this point, just because of their ages, really.
I think they should do a tour. Do it in theaters, but do multiple nights in some cities without makeup. You know, maybe a good portion of it can be unplugged or something. Yeah, sit on stools. We don't care. But just how cool would that? Seeing Kiss them like at the Paramount. That'd be awesome. So, but that would require a tour. They're not just going to come play the one show.
They can call it Wicked Lester.
Yeah, there you go. And get some of those old guys back.
Yeah.
So-
What else are they going to do? Have you heard anything about? I mean, come on! Now they're going to have time to like put out more box sets and cool shit. They got to, right?
Yeah. Plenty of Kiss merchandise to come. They still want to take our money. I promise you that.
That's fine.
So yeah. But no more touring. They're opening up restaurants. We know that. But yeah, touring is done with as of December 2nd. Speaking of touring, let's talk about Kiss in their prime on the Dress to Kill tour, recording this album right here. But first of all, you got a few things to show. That album being one of them.
Wait.
Oh, a shark.
Dun, dun, dun,
Oh, no.
Dun, dun, dun. So I have the reissue. Beautiful.
Yes.
I like just holding it. It feels good.
Yes.
If you really want to get in the mood, you want to put on something crusty like this, though. Something beautiful and crusty.
Crackling vinyl.
Heck yeah. You got a different label on album 2 than 1. And, your thing's ripped up. This here, when I saw
Best
this.
insert inside any album ever.
When I saw this, it was just insane. And what kid didn't have this taken apart and put up on their walls?
Hey, tell me this.
But those pictures, dude.
Did you do this as well? Did you look at the pictures and
Look
think,
at that, man.
Did you look at the pictures and think, okay, that's Darren Cole Gin, and that has to be
Oh
Strutter,
yeah.
and
Oh, that's well, he's breathing fire.
that's
and-
Firehouse.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So,
Show the back.
and if you're
This picture on the
if you're a
back.
newer Kiss fan and you haven't got this on vinyl, and pulled this out and looked at it this size when like Deuce is cranked up, you got to do it. You know what I mean? You got to do it. You got to flip through this book while it's. And I don't know if I mentioned this last time, but when I was a kid, my dad was way into handwriting analysis. Did I say that?
No.
He was way into analyzing handwriting. He had just stacks of books. He was way into. He was just getting way into it. And every curve you make, how hard you push, upward, downward, T cross. I mean, it all means something. And at the time when I really got into this, I was 11 or 12. I thought Gene's handwriting looked so cool.
It's like menacing.
It's all caps and it's square Greek E's, and I just thought it looked so cool because my dad had me very conscious about what handwriting means, how your personality is coming out in the handwriting. So basically, my handwriting and my signature gradually became Gene's handwriting from this album. It's kind of funny to say. That's a total fanboy. I mean, wow. So that is my penmanship right there, pretty
You
much.
learned grammar from Mr. Simmons. He was a teacher, so it all makes sense.
You know, and they teach you how to write in school. Why can you not choose how you want to write?
No $S in the Simmons.
Ooh.
I just noticed that.
He wasn't all about money yet.
Not yet, but the money would flow in after this album.
Yeah. I hear reissues have a $sign there instead of an S.
Well, let's take a look.
2000.
No.
So, yeah, the whole thing. You know, you got a 4K crystal clear $3,000 camera. Look at this. It looks sort of blurry and ominous, and art isn't always perfect. You know what I mean? And this album cover, album sound, everything about it. Is it the clearest album ever recorded? No, it's the coolest. It's just like everything about it was just perfect at the time. And, you know, what is perfect? It's just the way the art came out, you know.
Yeah, we mentioned maybe a couple episodes ago, or at least I mentioned, this is my favorite Kiss album cover right here. And it's my favorite Kiss album.
Look at this. I mean, look how awesome that picture is.
Mm-hmm.
But is everything crystal clear perfect? No.
No.
Does it need to be, you know?
And Chad Smith from the Chili Peppers is sitting over here somewhere.
Look at how much like weed smoke is up here.
Oh, yeah.
It's just like,
There's a plume hovering above.
yeah, a plume. You have to.
Yeah, I always thought that was a girl. It's not.
It's
or
not.
actually, both of them look like girls, kind of. But
Well, we all did when we were like 13, right?
yeah, I mean, so they're not. They're grown men now, and they have came back and brought the sign.
And this, who has this now?
I just assumed one of them, but who knows?
So I just think the whole thing's so cool. Is it perfect? No, it's shadowy. It's not crystal clear. I just love it though.
Is that a disco ball right there? Kind of looks like it. Huh?
It is a disco ball in the back of there.
Yeah, you don't think of the Alive stage and a disco ball being on it, but
I mean,
apparently
you
there
think
was.
that the Kiss disco era started in '79? No, right here.
Yeah, well, here's something for you. So this
That
was
scream induced is so disco induced.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that in a second. This was shot at, I guess, the Michigan Palace a couple days before the Cobo Hall show. And they filmed the Come On Love Me and Rock Roll Night promo videos. Now, when you watch those videos are crystal clear and the stage doesn't look all cluttered and smoky. But so they definitely recreated, for this shot, they were definitely recreating the live experience, and they did a hell of a job. And why is Ace holding his guitar upside down?
Yeah,
Maybe he,
for fun.
I think maybe he had an endorsement or was trying to get one, and he had to show the front of the guitar. I don't know.
I mean, they're all playing Gibsons on here, right?
I love that bass.
That's a grabber or it's one of the two. It's a grabber or and that logo on the Kiss bass drum. That's what's his name? Director of art for the album covers up through Asylum. What's his name?
Wallach?
I think he did that sparkly Kiss logo on that. That was with him on the first couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that right? I'm pretty sure he did.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
That's cool guitar. I never see Paul playing that anymore. But yeah,
That guitar broke.
Yes.
Or
Yes,
is that the one that broke or got stolen from?
Something definitely happened.
I can't remember now. I didn't really read up on that. We probably mentioned that correctly in the other episodes.
I think it was in the Destroyer episode.
That guitar's gone now, though.
Yeah.
Either way.
Anyway, so Alive was for me anyway, it was the album I probably, and Alive too. Let me throw that in there. The album I stared at the most.
Yeah.
And I literally remember being probably 8 or 9, doing a whole concert in front of a full-length mirror, using a tennis racket,
Using the tennis racket.
playing this whole album and doing the whole thing. And that did include times I was air drumming. I mean,
You know, and how they have these advertised here, I just always thought it was so cool. Sure, they're showing us what else we can buy, but just look at this. Color, popping, mystique everywhere. I just absolutely loved it. Amazing.
yeah. So, I mean, we could do a whole show just on the packaging.
I mean, it's just so cool. So I have a bunch of versions, but this got the camel version on this one here, and then the reissues are in these nice vinyl. But we got the
Got the blue label.
yeah, the reissues always goes back to the earliest label. And what else do we got here? Let's see. The booklet. I think I have You know, you can get them with all the different sleeves. This is another camel. But all the varieties of Alive and like where the name is, where the name is on the sticker, and whether Alive is above the name or below the band name. It's like there's all sorts of variances of this. I have one of them that is, one of them I think I have says a special priced 2-record set. You know that one? Here it is. Yeah, this one just says 2-record set. Kind of cool. You can see that this is just going off the edge, and this one here is way lower. So I don't know if they blew up that, but yeah, very cool.
I've noticed on a lot of the old Kiss albums, like where it says it just says Casablanca.
Yeah.
Then they started to add right underneath that. Maybe one of these has it different. No, it would say like Music and Film Works under the Casablanca. Yeah. I just like the plain Casablanca. You know, it's more authentic that way.
This is
Ooh.
blue ones. This is a Canadian copy I have right here. This is a Canadian one. It's a definitely different paper than the other ones. The cardboard's definitely different. Yep. Canadian. So,
produced and engineered by Eddie Kramer, of course. Mixed at Electric Lady Land Studios. Electric Lady Studios. I always say Lady Land.
Yeah.
Hendrix on the Brain.
Yeah. Well, the striking resemblance between this and Rockin' the Fillmore, Humble Pie. Mixed at the same studio, recorded, mixed by the same guy. This has a very, and if you like this, and if you're not a Humble Pie fan, check out Rockin' the Fillmore first. You probably like all the Humble Pie stuff.
A very similar sound.
Because Kiss gets a lot from it. But the bass sound, Gene's vocal, of course. But the production, just the way Eddie Kramer put overheads above the drums, and just the way he mic'd the guitars and all that stuff. It's at the same studio, you know, going through the same compressors, all the same stuff, the same onboard EQ on the board and all that. It's got a very similar tone. I think of them almost as sister live albums, even though it's definitely two different bands.
Yeah. Another good live album to check out, Slade Alive.
Yeah.
That's right. That's what it's called.
That's where Alive comes from.
Yep. Yeah, and Slade Alive came out in '72, so let's
killer.
Let's be clear who took it from who.
And that's killer. That is such a killer album too.
Oh, amazing. That's just a single disc though, but yeah. So Kiss pretty much broke the mold when they did this. I mean, there had been a couple double live albums, made in Japan.
You know, Gene likes to say that, but Made in Japan, Rockin' the Fillmore, the Rolling Stones. I mean, all the big bands had a great live album.
Rockin' the Fillmore was a double album, but there were only like 6 or 7 songs.
To me personally, they didn't reinvent the live album with this. As a Kiss album, you can't be beat. But they like to say that nobody was making live albums back then. I mean, sorry, but that's just...
I think what they did...
Nobody did except for every band. Grand Funk, everybody.
This was one of the most successful by far. And it kind of made it... Every band had to put that into their catalog, whether it be Frampton or Cheap Trick. You know, make it... Package the tour, put it on an album.
What year was Song Remains the Same?
76. But that was like a movie soundtrack. That was 76. But it was a show from 73. So...
It's 74, right?
The show was from 76.
But it did come out in 76?
No, it came out in 76.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, maybe I didn't realize it came out in 76. But then, of course, Frampton, which is, again, mixed. He's one of the engineers on it, Kramer, but I think he mixed it. And it's at Electric Lady.
Yeah.
So, again, similar sounds,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Budokan, of course. Cheap Trick and Kiss are very similar in that it took a live album to break them. So Cheap Trick was following kind of the Kiss formula, and it worked.
Frampton, that broke him.
Mm-hmm.
Really, these live albums broke everybody. And I just have to say, I think it was kind of happening before Kiss, but okay.
Yeah, but Made in Japan didn't break Deep Purple, and,
But it didn't break them, you're right, but it was mammoth. It was huge.
Yeah.
The difference is Machine Head was huge before the live album came out. But still, that live album killed it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Who else Who else in the early 70s?
And a live album, The Who, Live at Leeds.
Oh my God, you're right. Live at Leeds.
That's a single album, though, wasn't it?
How do you top Live
Was
at
that
Leeds?
a single album?
It was single. Now it's CD. It's double and
Yeah,
remixed.
yeah.
But I like the original.
Oh.
That original Magic Buzz
Mhm.
and Substitute on there. That's a great album.
The Stones had Get Your Ya-Ya's
Yeah,
album. That was a
yeah.
single album.
It is single. Yep, yep.
In 77, they put out a double album.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is funny though that their first 3 records were selling amazing, and then they choose to put out a double live album.
Yeah,
that is
such a ballsy move.
That's interesting.
And it saved their ass.
But they're
That's the
working
bottom line.
with Eddie Kramer, and they're all talking to
Again.
the label, and he's probably helping them negotiate things. And look what he just did for Humble Pie. I mean, it's the best Humble Pie album. So
The heaviest, too.
I don't know. Maybe it wasn't really that much of a risk. Maybe it was like, we're gonna follow in suit here.
Well, it was
the
a
best
risk
shit in the world.
because they would have been really down financially had this flopped.
Wishbone Ash live dates. That's 73.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So anyway, the tunes on it. Deuce. I mean, dude, that scream of Deuce. Holy shit.
Everything about it.
How was the scream last night?
No, I took note of it. It was good. It
was good?
It was nothing like this, though.
I mean, that scream on Deuce. Oh my
So Deuce is, I believe this version is recorded in Cleveland because, and let's talk about this for a little bit, about the touch-ups and all that. There is, if go on YouTube, I'll put a link to it on the comments here to this video. Cleveland 75, summer 75 was a radio broadcast. And Deuce and Strutter are definitely taken from that show.
Yeah.
And Strutter especially does not sound different at all, except some of the guitar playing at some of Ace's solo when the song's ending. Deuce is very similar. There are some little things here and there. But for all those people who think, oh, they just went in the studio and re-recorded everything. No. Listen to those, especially those first 2 songs, and tell me they're not very similar to what.
Yeah, not all of it, but you know, they wanted to make a live album, and when you're wearing these costumes and you're acting as ridiculous as you can from the second you hit the stage, I mean, okay, they knew they were recording a live album, but they just didn't have the nerve to just stand there and play everything perfectly. They didn't. They're still putting on a show. They're not going to give even one crowd a lame show and just stand there.
Exactly.
So they jump around, they get crazy, and they fix it later. It makes sense. You know, most people do. I mean...
Yeah, and that's what I hear when I listen to the Cleveland show. It sounds like a live, but there's he missed that note in the solo or something, you know.
Yeah.
Now, there are some songs on there like 100,000 Years, even Rock and Roll Night. The intro is the same. Let's Rock and Roll Night. It's exactly. That's taken straight from Cleveland to put on this album.
Yeah.
But the version of Rock and Roll Night is a bit different. 100,000 Years, listen to the version on the Cleveland show. Totally different. So they probably pulled 100,000 Years from Detroit or Davenport, Iowa or something. We know at least part of Let Me Go Rock and Roll is from Davenport, Iowa, because it's Quad City. And one of our commenters let us know that, because we don't know Quad City.
Oh, Quad City, yeah.
Yeah, we don't know that. But
Yeah, he said some jarbled up thing there. He says, come on, Quad City.
yeah, and we were like, what's Quad City? And we found out it's Davenport, Iowa. So, yeah, it's just amazing. But yeah, track by track, just really quick. Deuce, it's the ultimate version. That scream at the end. Ace is soloing towards the end. It's just, it's Kiss at its best. It
Absolutely.
just, I mean, it sounds cliche saying that. But
And it's so cool that that's the song that they were jamming with everybody the day Ace was there. It's the first song he played with them. Opens the best album that they ever recorded.
Yep. And Strutter is next, and
I love this version of Strutter. I like it. I love the first album. When I want that kind of dry, weird, low budgety sound, and I want that sometimes for sure, you know.
yeah.
But this version is
It's way heavier, and we could say that about all these tracks.
the arrangement's a little different. Things are a little bit longer here and there. I've done this song live, and it's a train wreck if you and the other people are not listening to the same version, because it's got some things a little extended.
True.
It does.
There's a couple songs like
Did
that.
we have a couple things like that in our group?
I Love It Loud was kind of like, wait, which version are...
Yeah.
So Strutter, yeah, as I just said, listen to the Cleveland version. It's hardly any different.
Yeah.
So that is one song that wasn't touched up much at all. Got to choose.
Got to choose.
Finally,
Dude.
the tempo is there.
Oh, every song just magic.
Yeah.
For me, sonically, my God, the way the guitars sound, the way the reverb sound, it's the perfect balance. And it's not Pro Tools, it's not perfect. Can you hear what the bass drum's doing at every single second? You're not supposed to. You know what I mean? You're supposed to hear things when there's an emphasis for it. Can you hear bass genes, bass lines exactly perfectly? No, it's in the mix at the right times. It's just such an organic production, And God, I wish they'd work with Eddie Kramer again. I mean, they were on to different kinds of production in the 80s, but for me, the sound of this album, it really, really is just pure magic,
Yeah, it's not just a coincidence that everything Eddie did with them is like their best stuff.
And the Ace album.
And the Ace album, yeah. And
First
the
Frehley's comment.
First Frehley's comment.
Yeah.
Okay, so got to choose. I have to mention that guitar solo. It's one of my favorite
So
Ace solos.
good. Yeah.
We were talking about doing a episode about Ace's best solos and probably some of their best drum tracks from Peter and Eric. And spoiler alert, I'm going to be mentioning Got to Choose in that episode because the solo on this version is so good. So good.
Is Ace lacking on any of these?
No, he's not.
Oh my God, it's so good.
Ace is my MVP of this album. This is the album that made him a guitar hero, that inspired literally hundreds of thousands of people to pick up a guitar, many of whom are very famous right now.
Yeah.
John Five, people like that. So yeah, I got to choose. I way prefer this version over the Hotter Than Hell version. But I love the Hotter Than Hell version so much. It's my favorite song on that album. So there you go. So up next would be Hotter Than Hell. Again, God, this is getting redundant. I know, and we're only 4 songs
It's
in.
your favorite version.
It's better than the studio version. Not as good as Rip and Destroy though. Definitely not.
Really, they're all better. They're all perfect and loose and organic in the right way. And
yeah.
A lot of it's the recording technique. This album still, not that my albums are a classic or anybody outside of Tacoma really cares about them, but the production, the way...
I live outside Tacoma and I care about them.
And you care about me. Thanks, man. But the way the guitars are recorded, the way the drums don't sound dry right up in your ear, drums don't sound like that. You don't put a 57 right on the snare and turn the room mics off. Jimmy Page had it figured out. You record the ambience of the whole thing. And they knew that on here. Or Eddie Kramer did,
Page was the man.
So it's just the way everything sits and gels together, along with the way their amps distort at this time and the amps they were using, and of course the quality of their voices. Every song, for me, is better. I love the novelty of the first few records. Love it. But this, how can you compete with anything on here? It's just...
Every song is so much heavier, sounds
every time I drop that needle on Deuce, I'm just like, oh my God, every time. I'm literally freaking out every time. It's just, it's the reason why it's so classic. So
I mentioned this, both of us watched the previous live episode we did just to know what not to do when we re-record. And I said on that episode, though, that certain parts of this album literally gives me goosebumps.
Yeah.
And I'm a 52-year-old man who gets goosebumps over music, and that's beautiful. I mean, that's the way I want to be that way when I'm 80, and I'm sure I will be. So,
let me mention real quick, and we'll get on to Hotter Than Hell there. But I picked this old back issue up recently, and it's got a bunch of bass in there. So, for your guitar players, you have up on this is the start of the article right here, 100 best guitar albums of all time. What is this, like a dozen years old or something? But look who you got right there. You got Page, you got Angus, Ace Frehley, and then down here you got Hendrix. Those 4 guys.
If Alive wasn't on this list, I would torch this magazine
And-
right in front of his eyes.
Hey, I paid $1.99 for this. Of course, Zeppelin 4 is number 1. That's cool.
That could be one of the best drum albums as well.
Just albums in general,
Yeah.
Our Experience is 3, Appetite's 2. It's a great album. I guess I don't put it on just to hear guitars, but Master of Puppets is 4, Paranoid 6, Dark Side 5.
Wow, Van Halen's not in it till number 7.
Yeah, 7. I mean, let's put Van Halen 1 over here, and let's switch that with Appetite. Why don't we? You know what I mean? I mean, come on, guitar, 100 best guitar albums of all time.
Yeah.
So anyway, Alive, Physical Graffiti's number 9.
Why is that in there?
I don't know. Nevermind's a great album, you know, and I got it when it came out. I love Bleach. I especially love the deep tracks on Nevermind.
Remember though, this is the best guitar.
But guitar album.
Yeah.
They're just great pop songs,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, exactly.
But really shouldn't be in the list.
That's a good one. Physical Graffiti at number 9.
Justice for All is 12. Blizzard of Oz 13. Blah blah blah. Iron Maiden, Number of the Beast is 17. Servant with an Alien 20. Could have been a little higher. That's a pretty good guitar album. That album changed some shit for sure. So Kiss Alive is number 26.
Oh, that's a good one.
Peace Cells, Rising
26,
Force,
though?
and Who's
Should be
Next
higher.
are all right before it. Not to shoot down any of those. I guess those are 3 of my favorite albums. But Kiss Alive, there is a lot of what you would call shred at the time.
For me,
Pentatonic
it's
shred.
numero uno.
But at least it's on here. Destroyer is also in here. It's just a little further down the line. But I thought it was pretty cool
Any other Kiss albums in there?
that they have Destroyer pictured here. They got Zeppelin, Hendrix, and Destroyer.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, Destroyer's pictured the smallest, but
Destroyer's on the list.
for us Kiss fans, that's pretty cool. You know,
Yeah, definitely.
to have Kiss pictured here as the top 3. I mean, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, with Zeppelin and Hendrix.
But 26, Alive 26, I probably would disagree with that because I'm a Kiss freak. You know,
Totally disagree with it.
yeah.
Fuck that magazine.
Fuck them. I mean, whatever.
Exactly.
No, it's cool.
Come back when Alive's number 1.
I'll tape it back together later. I just want it to be cool.
Okay, so Firehouse is next.
Yeah.
You know, you get the siren effect, all that stuff. That's amazing. Great version. Again, I like the tempo better.
Mm-hmm.
It, especially better than the double platinum version that'll speed it up.
Yeah, I can't compare.
Yeah,
much
I
to
can't
that.
even listen to that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's perfect. It's a perfect tempo. It's perfectly performed. And 2 thumbs up
I
again.
definitely like Firehouse better on here.
Oh, without
And
a doubt.
Nothing to Lose.
Ooh.
I love the version on the first album, but Nothing to Lose on here. I mean, it's really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
It's much, much better. Even though the version on the first album is great. It was their single.
Mm-hmm.
They were pushing it. They pushed it hard. They pushed that song hard.
Yeah, here's some Slade influence on that song.
Yeah.
Great song. Great song. Come On and Love Me, the song that Paul has claimed there's a bass mistake throughout the song. I don't hear it.
Yeah.
I don't hear it. So Come On and Love Me, I'm going to say this, Peter. I actually prefer the studio version.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah. I just think the studio version is perfect, really.
To me, it's like a suite of songs. So when I'm listening to this, there's no way there can be a better version of any of these songs because you're just in it. You know, you're just in it for to win it. But
Yeah, I do like the live version, obviously.
Dress to Kill, everything on that album, those are very good versions. You know, everything on there. So
Yeah. Parasite is next, and first of all, any Hotter Than Hell song done live is probably going to sound better than the album. You know, the album does have its charm. You know, we've gotten used to that sound, and we love it now. But sonically, this one will kick your ass a lot more.
and it is heavy, and it just rocks your ass off. Parasite on here. A lot of times at the club when there's metal shows, if I really want to hear some Kiss because I've been playing Sepultura all night between bands, or it's a heavy show. I'll put on some Kiss. I'll choose Parasite, or I'll choose Deuce. Parasite rips on here. Really good.
Really good version.
Yeah.
Excellent version.
One of the heaviest tunes, man.
And then one of the highlights on the album for me, She. Again,
Gene's vocals, man.
the song has came a long way from its Wicked Lester version.
Yeah.
There is no flute anywhere inside.
There is no flute?
And here's the thing, that whole Let Me Know outro. So I asked you this. We still don't know the answer to this, by the way.
What?
On the first time we recorded this, I said, well, they were doing Let Me Know at the time.
Oh.
So do you think that's a splice? Like, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
Were they at that time, like that part of the tour, were they still doing it?
They played it in Cleveland.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so they played Let Me Know in Cleveland, at least. But so what we're getting at is the whole "Let Me Know" outro part of "She" on here might be spliced from a version of "Let Me Know." If anybody out there knows, let us know, because we're not claiming to know everything over here. So that concludes the first.
And that would have been a little bit of poppiness there.
Yeah.
Such a heavy album.
Yeah.
Such a heavy album.
Maybe that's why they didn't include it, because there is a good version from that Cleveland show.
The only things remotely poppy are the last two songs, Rock and Roll All Night, Let Me Go Rock and Roll,
Yeah, true.
Very majory and sing along.
Come On and Love Me kind of has some poppiness to it.
Yeah. Heavy though, still.
We have to mention Ace's guitar solo and "She," and how he lifted a little bit from Alex Lifeson. Oh, no, from Robbie Krieger too, but the whole working man part of the solo. I'm talking about his actual guitar solo, like not the guitar solo.
You think he got a bit from Lifeson?
Oh, working man.
From Working Man?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I thought there's a whole part of that that's straight off of the Doors. Then, of course, Pearl Jam borrowed that.
No. So you're talking about the actual solo in "She." I'm talking about when the song ends and he's playing the
solo.
Yeah,
I got you.
Now,
his solo.
I don't think he was purposely ripping off Working Man, but they were touring a lot with Rush, and it probably just seeped into his subconscious. Yeah. In fact, just want to mention this really quick. They played Detroit May 16th, 75. A week later, they played Seattle at the Paramount Northwest, a show that Paul mentioned last night from stage.
Really?
Yeah.
What did he say?
Just, I remember the Paramount Northwest, They played there with Rush, and I think it was May 24th, 75. How cool would that have been? Kiss around the time when they were recording this album, and Rush in 75. What's that? That's 2112, right? Or no, Criss of Steel.
Yeah, Criss of Steel.
Yeah,
the going down the Tubes tour. They weren't doing that good at the moment.
How cool would that have been?
Another time where they kind of took a risk and went even proggier, like Kiss said, well, the album's not selling, let's make a double live album. And
Yeah, so
amazing things happening in the 70s when labels just believed in a band. I mean, those first couple Frampton records, were they really that amazing? They're okay, right?
Some good songs.
Yeah, but they're okay. And just the way they came off. But then the live album, I mean, they knew that Frampton had it in him,
To connect Frampton to this whole thing, his last album with Humble Pie was Rockin' the Fillmore. He wanted to go in a more poppier direction. And it worked out for him, so we'll give him that.
Yeah.
But Rockin' the Fillmore is a heavy record.
Yeah.
If you're thinking, oh, Humble Pie, that's like boogie rock or something. That's that boogie-woogie music. No. Rockin' the Fillmore is a heavy metal album.
And that's influenced a lot of people. Wasp even does Don't Need a Doctor. And
Listen to 4-Day Creep from that album. That is heavy metal. Fucking love it.
There is some other great stuff mixed in on Eat It.
Eat
It has got some great stuff on it.
That's after though.
Yeah, but I mean, there's some other great heavy stuff.
Eat It. Eat It is that album.
Yeah.
I think that's them trying to do their own Exile on Main Street.
Yeah.
And it doesn't quite reach that superior level, but it's listen to that album, man. That's the way that album's recorded is just it's hilarious actually.
Yeah.
Eat It. Yeah, there's some good songs in there though. Watching You is next. We're talking about side 3 now.
Now, Watching You, that's where I don't really know if I hear it on this album. I think he probably fixed it, but a lot of times live, he will be going down when there's the breakdown before the guitar solo. He goes down a half step too far on bass. He does it repeatedly over and over. I don't think he does in this album because they probably fixed it, but a lot of times in concert, he will go down too low, hit the wrong note. Is that possibly what Paul's talking about? Or is there really
I don't hear anything.
A weird note over... Because I've never really heard that note Paul's talking about over there, but maybe he's thinking about Watching You, because I noticed Gene for a while, it's probably they're probably backstage just jamming, and Gene's like, wait a minute, that's a G right there? Oh, I've been playing that wrong for 6 months. But it's in Watching You. You can hear it a lot on the live.
It's okay to play it wrong as long as you look cool doing it, right?
As long as you breathe fire while you do it.
Okay, so Watching You, what can we say? I mean, it's
so dark,
one of their heaviest,
so
darkest, great riffs and lyrics and all that. and this version does not disappoint.
Mm-hmm.
But you want to talk about the highlight of the album, Mr. Peter Tijan?
100,000
Peter's a
years.
professional drummer, by the way, so I like to just hand the song to him.
Well, just Paul's whole stage rap is absolutely perfect on here. You know, people make these little compilations of Paul's funny stage raps. A lot of it's 80s stuff and whatever. On here, perfect. It's perfect. And the drumming.
Total preacher mode.
What? Yeah, 100% preacher.
Steve Marriott.
When I got my kit, and I came home. We came home with it. It was nighttime already. Set it up the next morning. Put on this album. First thing I ever played with was 100,000 Years. And because I already had like literally some like fucking pots and pans and buckets and stuff. I had a snare drum, but to get around to play a whole kind of kit, I had some other crap sitting around that I beat on, you know what I mean? So this is my first full kit, bass drum. So right away I'm trying to get that triplet feel, ghost notey thing because it was so groovy. So that's the first song I ever played to on the kit.
Wow.
And I always remember that.
You just dove right in.
Later that day, I put
in
it
the deep end.
on Somewhere in Time because I just got that too. That was the second album, but the first thing I ever played to, not only was this album, but that song.
Wow.
Yeah.
It is a drumming showcase, really.
It's really, really cool.
Yeah, and Paul's his preaching. I mean, Steve Marriott did that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it's the only other person I can think of. Mick Jagger might be one of the greatest frontmen of all time. He wasn't up there preaching, you know what I mean?
He's just so random and energetic.
I do think he's absolutely one of the best frontmen in
Yeah.
rock, and probably one of the most consistent singers. He sounds the same all the time, you know. So,
Well, when you're just kind of talking and shouting, I guess. Yeah.
how did we go off of Mick Jagger?
I don't know, but 100,000 years is absolutely killer. You know?
Yeah, and it has nothing to do with Mick Jagger.
And it's the pinnacle of it. They got the flanger on the drums during the drum solo. And, you know, Peter Criss wasn't like a jazz drummer. They say he was jazz influenced, and he was. He liked jazz, but he wasn't really very jazzy. This is rock drumming. You know, it's groovy rock drumming. But he does really good. That solo just...
Well, yeah, you know he uses pearl drums because he wants the best.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So...
Totally iconic. The solo and stuff, totally iconic.
Oh, God, yes. To me, anyway, it makes the solo on God of Thunder and the Live 2 look very tame. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's more just straight ahead, like... This is like...
Well, they cut it down so they can fit it on 3 sides, and, you know.
Yeah, but this, he plays cowbell on this solo. Yeah, I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah.
I love it. It's one of my favorite Kiss. It's a live version, but it's one of my favorite Kiss tracks of all time.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm going for that. She, Deuce, and Let Me Go Rock and Roll are my favorites on this album. Anyway, Black
Let
Diamond's
Me Go
next.
Rock and Roll, huh? That's right. You love that one.
Yeah. You know who else loved Let Me Go Rock and Roll?
Gene Simmons?
No, and this is something I did not know the first time we recorded this. So here you go.
What?
New information for you all.
Yeah.
Let Me Go Rock and Roll. Who else liked that song? Elvis fucking Presley.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
There's a story about Elvis.
Stepson
Was listening to Alive.
was rocking it.
And Let Me Go Rock and Roll played. And Elvis said, hey, play that again. Well, that's not my Elvis impersonation.
Yeah.
He wanted to hear it again.
Play that again.
Yeah,
Of
there you
course,
go.
Elvis, it sounds like he was a cool guy. He wasn't
I'm sure he was.
overly negative about what he probably thought was, in actuality, probably pretty ridiculous for where he was coming from, you know.
Yeah.
But, you know, I can't remember what the phrase is, but he said something positive about it, like, oh, they got their thing down or something like that.
Yeah. He said some positive things about it.
Yeah, so that's pretty
and
cool.
he wanted to hear it again. I mean, how can you not like Let Me Go Rock and Roll? It's one of those tracks, if I had to convert somebody to be a Kiss fan, try to be a Kiss fan, I'd probably play that. Black Diamond is next. So I found it interesting, the version on Cleveland that I was listening to on the way here, actually, when I was stuck in traffic out there on I-5.
Yeah.
He does not say hit it on that version.
Yeah.
How can you do Black Diamond and not say hit it?
True.
Yeah, so it's a great version, though. I mean,
Absolutely great version.
I always thought that smashing sound at the end was him breaking a guitar. It's probably not, but
Well, they got the neck a little broke, right? Or sawed a little bit. So when it does go down, it's like, gunk. That's about how loud it probably is.
but they're cool sound effects nonetheless. And that brings us to side 4, Rock Bottom. You know, there's those rumors. I've never known this to be a fact, but there's a rumor that when they played Cobo Hall in '75, they opened up with Rock Bottom. I don't know if it's true or not. If anybody,
Cobo Hall. You mean you're talking about?
When they played there in '75.
Yeah, because this is the next.
Yeah.
This is the next time around.
He sold in the Cobo Hall.
By
76.
the way, for this era though, if you want to see like these costumes and stuff going down, night 1 and night 2.
Yeah, this is their big return to Detroit.
Cobo Hall, January.
I think there were actually 3 shows, maybe.
These are really killer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Ladies in Waiting is on night 2 or night. Yeah, night 1. Looks like night 1 is the one that has Ladies in Waiting.
How cool is it that they did Ladies in Waiting?
If you want to see that, that's pretty cool. So, yep.
Yeah, Ladies in Waiting, Room Service. Let me know. All these songs were done occasionally on this tour.
Traded Parasite for that?
I don't think that's a full set list, though. There's no rock and roll night on that one.
Yeah, Ladies in Waiting. Anyway, those are great. Also, you can definitely see footage in the Kissology 1.
Yes,
Pick that
absolutely.
up. Hopefully, after they're done doing this big tour and getting all they can get out of this, hopefully they do go back to putting out some more of this historical footage, like that footage that was put up and taken down.
Gooch.
Is it up there still?
No,
I don't think it
no,
is.
it's been taken down. Yeah.
I have it,
You talking about Sam Loomis?
but I don't sell it to anybody. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Kissology, man. It's been a long time since I've seen this. I have it, but it's not something I
Really fun.
usually pull off the shelf.
Yeah. Really
Because,
fun.
let's face it, everything's on YouTube these days.
Yeah, it is.
It's
Yeah,
just...
yeah. And these are not really usually the full concerts,
No, not at all.
unless it was a partial taping or whatever to begin with.
Yeah, that reminds me, like...
There's always 1 or 2 songs missing on all these shows, so you kind of need to go. If you want the full shows, you kind of need to go this route
Yeah, well, 2 things.
and get the full.
Like, on one of the Kissologies, they have the official unmasking.
Official what?
Unmasking, in 83.
Oh, yeah.
Not the whole thing, though. I remember thinking, there's way more than that. Like, because I taped it, when I was on MTV. It was like 20 minutes long. Not the one on Kissology. Same with Tomorrow's Show. They show some of it, not all of it.
Yeah.
So, I don't know why they do that.
Fit it all in and just, because so they can have a nice big list of stuff. And
True. Still, show
Hopefully
me the whole thing, damn it.
yeah, hopefully they put out some more stuff.
So Rock Bottom, yeah, great version. You know what? I think I might prefer the Dress to Kill version. It's more like just compact and, it's really good. It's still a great version. I might even go so far as to say I prefer the version.
Double platinum version?
No. I like the studio version of Cool Gin a lot. So much so that I probably prefer it over this version. But there's nothing wrong with this version, and you gotta like his intro. His intro is legendary. By the way, his stage raps overall on this album, you can't beat them.
Any little thing, even when he just goes, "Ugh," in the microphone, or you know what I mean, between a song.
All right.
Every moment.
Yeah.
It's just perfect. Because they were just so dialed, and it's just,
It would be super hard. I mean, I already said Ace is my MVP this album, but there's no flaws in this album. Nobody's lacking in any way. Gene has some great bass lines. I mean, it's just, everybody is totally on. This is a team effort. Peter, of course, is totally on. It's been said his drum tracks were the only thing that they just left untouched, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, Cold Gin's great. I'm going to say that I like the intro the best of that song. Oh, you have a cassette, a live cassette in your hand.
Yeah, I have a weird, like, BMG Tape Club version, I like all the versions. I like the 70s cassettes, the 80s cassettes, the Columbia House,
And it's all on one cassette.
I just love them all. Yeah, on cassette, they're probably all on. Remember when the CD was missing, like, what was the CD missing? Let Me Go Rock and Roll? Or
I hope not.
it was one of them. It was missing one of the tunes,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Very cool. Rock and Roll Night. What do you think of Rock and Roll Night?
I mean...
Oh, he's got the single.
This is from the cool box set that came
How
out.
come they're wearing Destroyer outfits?
Yeah, all of these 7 inches in the 70s. It's crazy, you know.
Mm-hmm.
You'll see something from the Dynasty era, 7 inch, and it's got, you know, Rock and Roll Over a tour picture on it, but it's cool.
Yeah, but in this
Whatever.
case, they're wearing like outfits in the future. You know what I mean?
Well, this is probably just a re-release of the single when the band was really booming. This has got Rock and Roll All Night Live, and it is the studio version on one side. Although on the cover here, it kind of leads you to believe live version on both sides. But it's cool. I like the colors they use with the purple and yellow up there. It's
They
pretty
probably have this right though. They probably are singing Rock and Roll Night right there. But come on, that's
might be.
Destroyer. That's Destroyer, people.
And then here I have another one, which is an original, and it is it's just one of the ones with the studio on one side and the live on the other side. This has got the live version on side A. Yep. So beautiful.
Yes. I said this a million times. I love the Blue Label Casablanca. So yeah, the version of Rock and Roll Night, of course, was their first, I guess you could say, mega hit. You know, it broke. That's really what broke this album. And to this day, I mean, they closed with it last night. I should tell you something.
Yeah. They didn't do Let Me Go Rock and Roll?
No,
Yeah.
no. I even asked my wife. We're on the way to the show. I said, "When you think of Kiss, what song do you think of?" Rock and Roll Night.
Rock and Roll All Night. I Was Made for Loving You.
She didn't know. She said, "No, Rock and Roll Night was
But
the only answer."
Rock and Roll All Night. But I mean, the common listener that's not really a deep fan, the songs that they know are Heaven's on Fire. You know what I mean? Heaven's on Fire, Lick It Up, I Was Made for Loving You, and Rock and Roll All Night.
And Beth.
And Beth. But of
Detroit
course, you don't
Rhapsody.
really hear Beth on the radio, probably like you did in the 70s. But these days, those are the songs you're going to hear, like, you know, at Walmart, like, oh, it's Rock and Roll All Night, or whatever, you know?
You gotta like her favorite Kiss song though. Deuce.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yep.
That's her favorite? Heck yeah. Rock and Roll All Night is a song where it's just that major key, bluesy rocker.
Party anthem, you know.
And it is something you still do hear on the radio once in a while. And when I do hear it on the radio, I'm like, oh man, that's not normal classic rock. That's heavy, tuned down, two
You're talking about
guitars.
the live version.
Yeah, they always play the live version
Yeah.
on the radio. Two guitars just distorted. They're just yelling and just like, it's nuts. You know what I mean? It really is heavy and amped up. You know, I love Black Sabbath, but it's like, do, 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 do. Like there is just a mellower pocket groove bluesy thing happening with Sabbath.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah.
I mean, you can't beat Sabbath.
Sab-
But this does a different thing that's just amped up in a different way.
Yeah. Well, Kiss is more party rock. Sabbath is more like stoner rock.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, Watching You, not really party rock. I'm Kiss.
Yeah,
I love Kiss. Kiss did a lot of stuff. I love their variety.
This is, yeah.
We've talked about that before. But when I hear Rock and Roll All Night out there in the world with the Norms, I'm like, whoa, even that is pretty heavy, man.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty heavy. I love it.
Yeah.
Tune down, you know,
the
tune
way
down
it
master.
incorporates the crowd and everything. It's like, it's perfect.
The way it's recorded.
Mm-hmm.
And I hear that on in the car, and after just listening to classic rock all day or whatever, and that comes on, and it just grabs me every time.
Mm-hmm.
And I know right away that is why I love it. You know.
It's kind of funny that earlier in the same year, the song was released as a single, the studio version.
Studio version.
And they thought enough of it to release it as a live version later on in the year. So how often does that happen? The same song getting released twice in a year.
Yeah.
But the live version caught on, thankfully, and the rest is history. All right. So up next is Elvis Presley's favorite Kiss song,
And just one of yours. It's one of yours too.
and one of mine too.
Yeah.
Let Me Go, Rock and Roll. Far superior to the studio version because I think it's more than twice as long. First of all,
Yeah.
I love Ace's soloing throughout. Paul's doing very cool rhythm stuff. I like how Peter will chime in with like, you know, "We love you" and all that. Gene with his Quad City quote. It's
For me personally, it's never been like a top 10 Kiss song, but this is a tour de force version of it for sure.
no, the studio version wouldn't make my top 20 Kiss songs, but
Yeah.
the live version certainly would. Yeah, I love it. I think it's a perfect closer to the album. Kiss, of course, have never been anything even remotely close to a jam band, but they do stretch this song out, do different things with it than the studio version.
Yeah,
And
they're jamming.
you have to appreciate that. So always, there was, for the longest time, maybe up until 10 years ago, if you would ask me my favorite Kiss song, I would have said the live version of Let Me Go Wrong.
Really?
Yes.
On that note, I just want to chime in. Has anybody ever noticed that this chick over here is kind of a babe? I just thought I'd mention
That's
that.
probably Chad Smith's girlfriend. 'Cause
Chad
Smith is sitting over here somewhere, and that's a true story. Chad Smith and Chili Peppers he was at the show, and he said he was right over here. Is this guy holding a joint or what?
No, but she's a babe, though. I don't know.
Yeah, you could really study the back of this album.
It's so cool.
This guy looks like
Get out of here.
yeah, exactly. What
Get
are
out
you
of my
doing with this
face.
stupid
I was
sign?
loading my bong and you walked
Yeah,
up
exactly.
there. What are you doing?
Yeah, this guy's like waiting for Diamond
This
Rio.
guy
to come
looks
on.
pissed. Yeah.
Diamond Rio opened up the Cobalt show.
And look at, there's another hottie right here trying to laugh and have fun, and this guy's like, ugh.
Yeah,
It's kind of funny.
yeah. I always thought but I've studied this. Okay,
Uh-huh.
is she behind him maybe talking to somebody else, or is she literally right?
I
next to
think
him?
she's looking at him. She'd be much smaller. I mean, look at their heads are exactly the same size, right?
Okay.
Must be Buds. He just ain't having it.
No, there's a lot of backstory to this right here. Yeah.
I wonder if that's a Kiss belt buckle he has on.
I
Come
would
on,
hope so.
get out the magnifying glass.
Yeah, very. And these people, they just want to find their seats. These people back here,
Yeah, these guys with the banner, they're blocking our damn way.
yeah. It's like, is this aisle 23? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what's weird? You would, if you take a picture like this now, all these people are gonna be like, yeah.
Yeah,
These
yeah.
people are just mellow. They're high.
Yeah.
You know, they're just, bring on Kiss.
Yeah.
Guarantee you when the show started though, they came to life.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess that would conclude it, huh? So,
Yeah.
Kiss Alive, redone. Hopefully, we did a good job.
Hopefully, we have conveyed how absolutely amazing it
I
is.
mean, if anything, if we wanted to get across anything, that's what we're talking about.
I've been playing jazz off and on for years now, and there's a bass player friend I used to play with, and he went to school in New York, and he came back here sometimes, and he goes, my roommate over there, he's a keyboard player, and he's like diehard, like into Bill Evans and Oscar Peterson stuff. He says the same shit you say about Alive. He loves Alive, and it's like this piano player at Juilliard or whatever.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
And so it's not just me. It is what it is, And if you're open to it, I mean,
It's regarded as one of the best live albums, but just one of the greatest albums of all time. It's my favorite album of all time. It affected me the most when I was a kid, and it still does to this day, and that's a special thing. Okay? So anyway, so we got some cool things coming up. So stay tuned for those in future episodes, and we'll see you next time. I'm Jason. This is Peter. Thank you.